Thanks for staying with us. Well, it is National Wear Red Day. The American Heart Association wants us all to recognize just how important it is and how big of a killer heart disease is in women. We have Dr. Tara Blair here from St. Joseph Health. Thank you so much for coming and talking about this.
Thank you for having me.
Well, why do we go red?
Women's cardiovascular health is such a major health risk for women. It's the #1 cause of death in women, and it claims more lives than all cancers combined. So the American Heart Association has partnered with CHI, actually for like the last 12 years. CHI is the local sponsor of the Go Red for Women to just try to help bring awareness to women and women's heart disease.
It's unreal because, you know, I think as Americans, we're very aware that heart disease and cardiovascular problems are a huge problem, but we don't always associate them with women just for some reason.
Exactly. We tend to associate it as a men's disease or a disease of older people.
Right.
But actually, in fact, 60% of the strokes that occur, stroke deaths, are women. And women have a higher risk of stroke lifelong than men do. And we even have found that nearly 45% of women in their 20s have some sort of cardiovascular disease. So it's a huge misconception, and that misconception that it is not a disease of the younger women is why heart disease is such a major risk factor for women and has such high mortality, because a lot of the symptoms and things like that tend to, the woman herself might ignore those symptoms, or even when she comes seeking healthcare, healthcare providers may even ignore, or not necessarily ignore, but misinterpret what those symptoms are.
Well, especially you have a healthy looking young female, and that's probably not the first thing you think that you have
with
some
a
kind of heart
headache
issue.
or heartburn or fatigue or something like that.
So are those all symptoms that something could be going on with your
simple
heart?
things like that. And when we talk about cardiovascular disease, we're talking about stroke and heart disease. So, you know, they can come up with things like headaches and dizziness or nausea and fatigue, things like that, that we can easily attribute to all kinds of different stressors in our lives or things like that.
Sure. So if something like that comes up, should we go see a doctor immediately?
It's always really important for women, you know, even in their 20s, to start getting screened to understand their risk factors, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, tobacco use, and their family history, to understand those risk factors. And you know, certainly those that do have those is to go to early screenings and have their blood pressure checked, have their cholesterol checked, their blood sugars, maintain healthy lifestyles and a healthy weight. But absolutely, I mean, anytime that you feel like you're not yourself, it's always better to be safe than sorry.
Well, and when you talk about those screenings, is that something that's usually involved in your, say, yearly physical, or do you have to specifically ask?
A lot of those things are included in yearly physicals. They even have like free community screenings, and we're actually doing a lot of those this month for that reason. But yes, a lot of times primary cares and things, maybe not so much in our 20s, and you know, it tends to be as we get a little bit older, and certainly women should be empowered to have their primary cares, you know, do that type of thing, those types of workups, especially if they know that they have a family history and have a lot of those risk factors.
That's a good thing to mention. Now, real quick, what are ways that we can prevent this from happening? Is it diet, exercise?
Diet, exercise. You know, I think 80% of cardiovascular disease can be prevented by a healthy diet and activity. Absolutely. Watching your smoking, obviously, that's huge, just to not smoke. But staying active, living a healthy lifestyle, and just being conscientious of things that we put into our body.
And there's a wealth of information out there. Where would you suggest to go to get information?
The American Heart Association, there's the GoRedForWomen.org. Those are great resources. And of course, you know, your providers and CHI St. Joseph, they're doing a lot of education this month too.
You do. Let's go into some of those.
So today Macy's was having some free screenings that were sponsored by CHI. Our website has a lot of great information on it. And any of the providers can provide great, you know, resources, information.
Sure. And you had some, I mean, just staggering statistics right here in Kentucky. 1 in 3 women die from heart disease.
Heart disease, yes.
It's unreal because it affects everybody. It's your friends, your family. If you're not a woman, the women you love.
Absolutely.
So today, at least do something Wear red, make it your mission to go out there and get screened and get ready.
Absolutely.
And what is that website again? It's right there. It's lexingtongored.heart.org. No, that's okay. Everything's up there. We appreciate you being here.
Okay, thank
Have a great weekend. Be safe out there.